Now 1-7. After a tight night in Iowa, the Democrats are deadlocked.
Breathing a big sigh of relief. Thank you, Iowa.
Iowa, thank you.
And what a night for the Republicans. A shock for the Donald.
We finished second.
A win for Ted Cruz.
That is the most votes ever cast for any Republican primary winner.
And a surprising surge for Marco Rubio.
For months, they told us we had no chance.
Tonight, it's on to New Hampshire for the first in the nation primary. 7 News at 6 starts now.
Donald Trump arriving in New Hampshire just moments ago, walking down the steps of his private jet. And this is the first time we've seen the candidate since his defeat in Iowa last night. Everyone's anticipating what he's going to say at his event in New Hampshire tonight. And those first results are in.
Trump not the only one shifting focus. All of the top candidates leaving the Midwest, touching down up in New Hampshire. And it could only mean one thing. The primary push is on. The candidates riding the momentum out of Iowa, going all in to get the support of New Hampshire voters. 7 News has you covered for the first in the nation primary, hitting the campaign trail with the candidates all week long. Let's start with Byron Barnett live in Hampton tonight, where he got to talk one-on-one with Democratic caucus winner Hillary Clinton. Byron?
That's right, Adam. Hillary Clinton, by the way, is getting ready for another big rally here at the high school in Hampton, New Hampshire, coming up later this evening. They arrived in the state today knowing that they had their work cut out for them. But Hillary Clinton told me that she's come from behind before, and she's hopeful she can do it again.
And when we win, I will stand up and fight for you.
Hillary Clinton firing up supporters as she hits the home stretch in New Hampshire, where she's trailing in the polls. But Clinton told us she's not worried.
Are you concerned about trailing so far behind in the polls here in New Hampshire now?
You know, when I got here in 2008, I'd lost in Iowa, as you remember, and I was quite far behind. And I am going to do exactly now what I did then. I'm going to get out and meet as many people in New Hampshire as possible.
Both Clinton and her husband have no complaints about barely beating Bernie Sanders in the Iowa caucuses last night by less than 1 percentage point.
I am so thrilled to have won. I'll tell you why. It's hard.
Clinton says she'll spell out the differences between herself and Sanders.
Key difference between you and Bernie Sanders that you want New Hampshire voters to know?
Well, there are many, but one is I want to defend and build on the Affordable Care Act. We are moving toward universal coverage. I don't want the Republicans to repeal it, and I don't want Senator Sanders to plunge us back into a contentious debate, creating gridlock.
And Clinton and Sanders will be crossing paths about 2 or 3 times later this week at a forum, at a debate, and at a big political dinner. It is going to be one intense week until the primary. That's a story live from Hampton, New Hampshire. I'm Byron Barnett. 7 News.
All right, as Byron mentioned there, it was a photo finish between the top 2 Democratic candidates. Too close to call until this morning. But Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has high hopes for New Hampshire. He's on top of the polls heading into that primary. Kimberly Bookman live in Keene, where the Sanders campaign is aiming for a big victory this time next week. Kimberly?
They certainly hope so, Adam. You know, all of the people who came out to support Senator Sanders today say he certainly is a contender, and he proved that in Iowa last night. Many of them came out here to this theater behind me. They stood in line for an hour. They were really excited to see the candidate. In fact, many of them showed up at the airport early this morning to greet him when he arrived back here in New Hampshire. And the cheers continued when the 74-year-old Democratic presidential candidate got on the stage and said, "Last night we began a revolution." Of course, he was alluding to the theme of his campaign to take on Wall Street and get wage equality, but it was also meant as a big thank you to his grassroots efforts, getting people out to caucus and give him a chance, which many thought wasn't possible a few months ago. Today, however, he was back to business, explaining his platform.
Now, in Vermont and here in New Hampshire, I know we got so many people who are struggling hard economically. So you guys ready for a radical idea? Yeah! Together, we are going to create an economy that works for working families and not just the 1%.
Now, Sanders is leading in the polls here in New Hampshire. He's hoping to build on that momentum throughout the week. This evening, right now, in fact, he's holding another Get Out the Vote event in Claremont at 6 o'clock. Reporting live from Keene, New Hampshire, Kimberly Bookman, 7 News.
Senator Ted Cruz, the leader of the Republican PAC in Iowa, and Cruz worked the crowd in New Hampshire today before taking off for South Carolina, where they'll soon have a primary to shore up support there. 7's Jonathan Hall joins us live in Manchester, New Hampshire, with more on his brief visit. John.
Hey, Kim, Ted Cruz did make it a brief visit. He only had one stop here in New Hampshire today after trouncing Trump by 4 points in Iowa. One stop, but he made it count.
Ted was cruising to victory in Iowa, but Kenny in New Hampshire.
Both states take your responsibilities seriously.
The Texas senator has some momentum, and he wants to stun America by winning in the Granite State, as a certain GOP governor from California did 3 dozen years ago.
And the Granite State shocked this country by giving Reagan the victory, and it literally, the men and women of New Hampshire, changed the course of history.
Cruz later reinforced the point to 7 News.
I'm going to continue asking for the men and women of New Hampshire to make that same fateful decision yet again, so that we can reignite the promise of America.
Our exclusive tracking poll shows Cruz 24 points behind Trump. That's a lot of ground to make up, but his campaign chairman is hopeful.
We're in the fight. That's all. That's what matters to me.
He doesn't have to necessarily win New Hampshire. He could have a good showing and use that as a springboard.
Well, we play to win. You know, I mean, that's the bottom line.
Does winning Iowa help in New Hampshire? What about Rick Santorum? 4 years back, he won Iowa. He came here and got trounced, finished second to last. The Cruz campaign says that's not going to happen to them. We're live in Manchester, New Hampshire tonight. I'm Jonathan Hall, 7 News.
All right, John. So Donald Trump coming out swinging on Twitter, taking out his frustration after last night's loss. He's playing the blame game after falling to Ted Cruz in the caucuses, saying his fall from first was not his fault. What's he talking about? Brandon Gano live in Milford with more on how Trump plans on changing his direction in New Hampshire. Brandon?
Adam, I can tell you this, he plans on blaming the media. He tweeted today that the media has been unfair to him, and he plans on talking about that here tonight. He also blamed the voters of Iowa, saying, quote, they didn't give him enough credit.
It was a Donald Trump we don't see often, humbled by a second-place finish in Iowa.
I want to tell you something. I'm just honored. I'm really honored. And I want to congratulate Ted, and I want to congratulate all of the incredible candidates.
A short speech in front of his supporters, just 3 minutes. He was cautious, choosing his words wisely about the next big vote, the New Hampshire primary.
We have a poll. We're at 28 points ahead. Okay, New Hampshire, we love New Hampshire. I think we're going to be proclaiming victory, I hope.
The Donald then went silent. No interviews, no social media updates until late this morning when the blame game started on Twitter. I will be talking about my wonderful experience in Iowa and the simultaneous unfair treatment by the media later in New Hampshire. Big crowd. He continued, I don't believe I have been given any credit by the voters for self-funding my campaign. The only one I will keep doing, but not worth it. Also, we just learned that Senator Scott Brown is going to make an appearance with Donald Trump. He sent out an email earlier saying he's going to be at a press conference with Donald Trump before the rally. By the way, this event is scheduled to start here at Hampshire Hills Athletic Club at 7. We're live in Milford, New Hampshire. I'm Brandon Gano, 7 News.
And Marco Rubio with a fighting chance after last night's surprising surge. The Florida senator with a come-from-behind third-place finish in Iowa, right behind Donald Trump and putting him right back in the race. He says he is more energized than ever. 7's Jennifer Egan joins us live from Exeter, New Hampshire. She's following the Rubio campaign.
And Kim, Rubio may have finished in third place, but his campaign is calling it Marco's big night. As you can probably see, Exeter Town Hall is packed here behind me. In fact, Senator Rubio is in the room. It looks like he's doing an interview right now, but the people here want to hear his pitch. Outside Exeter's historic town hall, they lined up early, waiting to hear from Senator Marco Rubio.
I think it's maybe time for some younger, good ideas, and I think he's got them.
We're so excited. Rubio is trying to build excitement and momentum off of his third-place finish in Iowa.
After 7 years of Barack Obama, we are not waiting any longer to take our country back.
This morning, Rubio stopped by the Airport Diner in Manchester.
We need to unify the conservative movement and the Republican Party. I can do that better than anyone that's running.
No more Mr. Nice Guy. His campaign emphasizing how tight the field is. They're calling Rubio's third-place finish a three-way race race for the GOP nomination. He was 1 point behind Donald Trump and is positioning himself as the most electable Republican candidate.
This country cannot afford Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. And not only am I principled and a strong conservative, but I can grow the conservative movement. I can take our message to people that have not voted for us before and bring them on and into the conservative movement. And that means we win the election.
So as part of that, Rubio is trying to edge out the other candidates that are also behind Trump and Cruz. So that's Kasich, Bush, Chris Christie. He has the event here tonight. He's set to speak around 6:15. He has 4 more events in New Hampshire tomorrow. We're live in Exeter. Jennifer Egan, 7 News.
And with Iowa in the rearview mirror, all eyes turn to New Hampshire, where the polls tell a different story. Just one station tracking what the voters in New Hampshire are thinking, really hour by hour. Political editor Andy Hiller live in Manchester now with some new results. Andy?
Adam, Iowa is history, and now New Hampshire is ready to make some of its own. All the major candidates are here, and a week before New Hampshire votes, Republican Donald Trump and Democrat Bernie Sanders are still both big leaders. Despite his disappointing finish in Iowa, Donald Trump is still the leader in New Hampshire with 38%. Ted Cruz is second with 14, and Marco Rubio is third with 10. John Kasich and Jeb Bush both get 9. The rest of the Republicans are in low single digits. Chris Christie 5, Ben Carson and Carly Fiorina both get 3. Rand Paul 2, 7% still undecided. We can start connecting the dots now on our tracking poll, and we are already seeing some movement. Donald Trump is holding steady, but Ted Cruz is up 2 points, and Marco Rubio has climbed into third place with his 2-point increase. There was no change for John Kasich or Jeb Bush. The Democrats had a virtual deadlock in Iowa with Hillary Clinton eking out a victory, but there's a lot more space between those two candidates here. Bernie Sanders at 63% is still doubling the support Hillary Clinton gets with 30%. And in our tracking, a bit of a surprise, a 2% increase for Bernie Sanders, widening his already huge margin. Our tracking poll combines 3 days of polling, so not much of this one includes New Hampshire voters reacting to the Iowa results. But we should start seeing who got a bounce from Iowa and who got bounced as soon as tomorrow morning. So stay tuned. Live in New Hampshire, I'm Andy Hiller, 7 News.
Sounds good, Andy. If you have questions for Andy Hiller and our pollster, we want to hear them. You can tweet us with the hashtag #primary-on7. You can also leave your questions on our Facebook page. Email us at sendit7@whdh.com. Or go to our website, which is whdh.com. We'll have the answers to some of your questions on 7 News at 10:30 on CW56 tonight, 10:30. And stay with 7 News throughout the primary. We'll have live coverage from New Hampshire all week on air and online at whdh.com and on our mobile and tablet apps. And still plenty of more news to get to here this evening.
In fact, we have several breaking stories to cover for you. Emergency crews responding to Kenmore Square. Boston Fire saying an acid spill shut down roads in that area.
Also breaking, a 3-year-old who was rushed to the hospital over the weekend has passed away. We'll have the latest when 7 News at 6 returns.